intended friends, my name is Catherine and I'm the human behind Creation Miss Couture, and today is the Vlogmas day 5 and we are going to do two colors today, two because they are tonals, so they're going to be a little bit more boring than when we do variegated colors. And as always, before we start into our dyeing session, I will be talking about an idea for a fiber lover in your life for a Christmas present, Hanukkah, or whichever holiday you celebrate during this period. And this is this book of 100 micro crochet that you can explore. So this is a super fun book with all the instruction. There is written instruction and there's also charts. I'm trying to not show too much of the inside just because, copyrights and all that. So it's a super fun book. So this is more for people that are interested in crochet, but we've been very generous for all of our craft, and we should not forget our crochet lovers. So I will have a link in the description box so you can try to get your hands onto this one or other different crochet books. Reference books are always interesting. However, you need to know what they already have. So without further ado, let's get into today's episode. And it's another day where we're going to be making my way through my winter collection, one color at a time. And today we're actually going to add a new color to the lineup because I felt like it. It's that simple. So we're going to do the Evergreen tree, and we're going to do one name to be determined because I am unsure I like the name I have so far. So it's a shining star because there's a lot of people that have stars on top of their Christmas trees, but I'm not sure I like the word. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to do our stock solutions. So the first thing we do before opening any jars is, if your answer was grab a respirator that can avoid you to breathe any fine particles, this is a correct answer. And as usual, it doesn't have to be this specific brand. Just make sure it's something that will make that you don't breathe any fine particles, because we only have one pair of lungs, so please protect them. Okay, so now that we have our respirator on, that it has been adjusted properly, we make sure that our scale is at 0, and then we measure the quantity of dry powder we need. So that's good. And then we go on to the next one, and we zero out every single time that we need that we need to use our scale to make sure that we are as accurate as possible, because if you want to be able to repeat your colorways, you will need to be precise. So this is good, but I will need my tiny scale because I will need a tiny quantity of black. Tiny bit more. Wait. I have too much. What am I doing? I am not grabbing the right stuff. Like when I say I don't need a whole lot, I mean it. And same thing with this. We need to make sure that it's at 0 before we do anything. See, that's too much still. Almost there. Okay, we're good. Like I said, I don't need a whole lot because black is a very powerful color. And as usual, we want to make sure that we clear up this. Might be a little too dark. Oh well. Okay, I'm just going to remove my respirator so that we can hear better what I'm saying. So yes, so it might be a little too dark. I might have added a little too much black. But if it's too black, that's fine. I can just work on it once again at some point. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to make sure that, because I've seen some clumps on this one, so I need to make sure that I grab a stiffer, this. Maybe it will be the right color. I don't know yet because it's not on the skeins yet, so I won't know until then. So anyways, we're going to go into the pot now to add our yarn. So I do not have any citric acid as of right now in here. Oops. Because I want to make sure that the color strikes slowly. Oh, okay, we were good. Yay! Strike slowly the yarn. Okay, perfect. I will grab my gloves before doing anything, because I don't want to be purple, like yellow and green forever. I used like fresh turmeric in a recipe the other day, and like it took 3 days before my hands were no longer yellow, so I will try to avoid doing that again. I really like this color. It really feels like an evergreen, but like in a cartoon sense of thing, not in a natural sense of thing. Okay. So, and we have tap water in the pot. So now I'm turning this on. I'm just going to quickly rinse off my gloves. Okay. Oh well, maybe it's not going to be as dark as I thought it was going to be when I was looking into the jar. We'll see. It might be a little too yellow as well, so we would probably have to tone down the yellow. We will see. We will see. That's all about learning. Worst comes to worst, I'll just set the idea aside until next year. So in about 15 minutes, we're going to add the citric acid. So I will see you in 15 minutes. So it's been about 10 minutes. So we're going to be adding our citric acid. There we go. Let's move. So citric acid wise, we want to usually do about, so it's 1 teaspoon per skein for me, because usually the rule of thumb is 1 tablespoon per pound of yarn or fiber, so 454 grams, so it gives me about 1 teaspoon per skein. So we're going to wait for the water to reach the right temperature, which is between 85 to 95 Celsius. Once we've reached that temperature, we're going to do 30 minutes of cooking on the stove, and then after that, we're going to turn it off and let it cool completely before we are going to wash off the excess dye. And we're going to have to wash this specific color more than usual because that specific color is just, it bleeds. That's all. All right, I will see you in a bit. Okay, so let's take a look. Okay, so we are good with the yellow, which is way too yellow, but it's fine. And we still have quite a bit of color in the green. However, I'm not surprised because of the nature of this specific green. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the heat, and we're going to let it completely cool off before we're going to be washing off any excess dye. We will most likely be dunking a skein of yarn in this one later on. So just so you be prepared. So I will see you later. Okay, let's do the green first because I think we're going to have some color left in the water of the dye bath. Maybe not that much. Anyway, I still think I'm going to put a skein of berry yarn in it. Oh, but I don't think there's that much color left, but I see a hint of color, so I don't know. I think I'm going to put a skein in it just to see. So I'm going to let this soak, and I'm going to put a skein of berry yarn in that water, and we'll see what happens with that. I've got a bit of green here, so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in my pot. Oh, that's a lot of liquid. But there's less color than what I was expecting, so that's always nice. We're still going to do a second soak just to make sure that this green doesn't bleed too much when it comes into some of the hand. Okay, so I'm going to let this sink. It's not too bad. I think we're good, and we can go put this in the spin dryer. We're going to do the yellow now. Clear bath. So I'm going to let this soak for 10-15 minutes, and we're going to come back to it. Clear bath. Oh, that's amazing. So we're going to put this in the spin dryer, and then we're going to remove all excess dye, let it dry overnight, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. And here's the final result for our colors. So this one, I feel like it is still too yellowy bright. I think I would have wanted it to be slightly softer. So basically what I mean by that is that I feel like it's still too brilliant, because the name of the color is still brilliant yellow, but I think I went with a too high percentage of the yellow versus the true black. The true black really helped with toning down that brilliant vibrancy that specific dye has. However, it's still too brilliant. I was going to something more soft, more not necessarily pastel, but more with like a sort of a gray undertone, where we still have a whole lot of warmth into that yellow. I was going for something more neutral-ish. As neutral as yellow can be, right? So I think I would have to redo this, but I think it's gonna have to wait until next year for me to change it a little bit. And my evergreen tree, still perfect, still loving it. As you can see, I dunked one skein with the leftover of the color from this. It's very soft pastel green. It's very subtle, very pretty. So those skeins usually go into my discounted bins at market, because I can't reproduce a color because I don't know how much dye I would need for that. So yeah, it was fun. I think I will rework yellow, and next year when we work the yellow into the collection, it's going to be the perfect yellow. Because like I mentioned, did I mention it? I first started developing this collection for the winter collection in 2023, and I wanted to redo the collection a little bit, and that's why I was trying to add new colors, because it's one of my permanent colors that come back every year. So it's the third years in 2025. It's the third year that I'm bringing it back for the holiday and winter season. So yeah, that's why I was trying to develop new colors. Anyways, if you've liked the video, please consider sharing, liking, and subscribing, and I will see you next one very soon. Bye!